Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining.
The show where John Romero's gonna make you his bitch.
Oh, god damn it.
I don't know what that means.
I know exactly what that means. And it has nothing to do with what we're about to experience, as far as I know.
No, but we usually just refer to something we're talking about.
Yes.
And before the show, we were talking about video games because I got a ad the other day, and I just immediately jumped on it.
Which is the safe and healthy thing to do.
Look, I've been on the edge of wanting this shit for a while, and then it
That's
jumped out at me, and I was like, I shouldn't have bought it, but I did. It's on credit.
No. Look,
anyway.
I own a Steam Deck. I know what you're talking about.
So we got talking about games, tech, and then games, and then I would say video games. Like there's a
No, we were talking
about games, and then we were talking about video games. Like we were talking about what time is it, Mr. Fox, and then we were talking about Tag, and we were talking about Settlers of Catan,
Yes,
and then we got back around to Doom.
We spent a very long time talking about Settlers of Catan because it's that kind of game. It just takes a lot of effort.
I have a story about Settlers of Catan.
Oh no.
When I was like 11 or 12, my dad bought Settlers of Catan because that's just the kind of person she is. And she made me and my grandparents play it with her, and none of us understood what was going on. And it was awful.
I had an aunt and uncle, it's mostly the uncle, who tried to get me to play Settlers of Catan. Like I did, but I hated it.
My only exposure has really been through Veilfisk's cursed Settlers of Catan, which, if you know who Veilfisk is, you will understand it is extremely cursed.
I don't.
It's he makes board games worse. He makes bad board games worse.
Great.
Good.
It's great YouTube.
He's doing the work someone has to do, I think.
You know, Monopoly didn't make people hate each other enough.
He's not the hero we deserve, but he's the hero
No,
we need.
he is the hero we deserve.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Monopoly didn't make people hate each other enough, so he made a Monopoly that would make people hate each other more.
We are foul, and we deserved a Monopoly that was worse.
Look, when they designed a Monopoly, it didn't teach people enough about hating each other.
What the fuck? Bring back the Landlord's game. I want the Landlord's game. I want the original Landlord's game, man.
It's an evil game.
I fucking want it. Anyway, so we got around to how John Romero's gonna make us his bitch.
Because he's actually a really nice guy. But boy, would you not have known about that from one of his games advertising.
I was watching him play somebody's fucking Doom mod the other day. It was great.
He's very good at Doom.
Well, wow, I wonder why.
For those who don't know, John Romero helped make Doom.
Yeah, when you think id Software, you think...
John Carmack!
Yes.
The two Johns. It was a very common name back in the day.
Well, I still think it's probably a pretty common name if I look up, like, baby names, top baby names.
Yeah, but it won't be in the top four.
We might even have one among us at this very moment.
It's true.
But it will not be in the top four.
Let me see.
Like it used to be.
I want the top names of 2022. Let's see the most popular baby names. Where is John? Live research, great podcasting. John is not on the list!
Oh my god! John, you were going extinct!
I told you, you didn't believe me. You didn't believe me that this name was no longer popular.
Well, that's because of the rise of unique names.
Yeah, they're probably all still there. They're just spelled like J-A-W-N.
No one's doing that to it. They're not mangling it.
J-A-H-N.
Look, I'm sorry, but they're not,
He's Jonathan with a G.
X-A-G-H-N.
Oh no.
John.
Jean. You gotta pronounce it like it's a Chinese, chic.
Can you guys tell me what happened last time with Thor?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this last night, and so Dane Whitman, the Black Knight, was not picking up his phone.
Yes.
And so the Avengers, as its company policy, had to send out a wellness check to make sure he hadn't been, like, kidnapped or something.
Because it happens more often than you'd think.
It's a hazard of the job.
It is.
And so they went there and they found a giant force field around his house.
Wait, what happened before that?
They found the force field before the troglodytes.
Well, yeah, but before that, they almost got denied entry to the country.
Oh, right. God, how could I forget? Swordsmen, they were denied entry into Britain because of swordsmen.
Because he was deported.
But Black Panther
vouched for him.
And because he's a temporal monarch, he is the leader of a state.
He's actually only a prince at this point.
Oh, really?
He's still got, a prince has still got some
I'm sure he's still got some sway. But.
He could probably get diplomatic immunity for anyone he wanted. Come on.
He's the crown prince.
Yeah.
Which means he's going to be the king.
Right, so that happened,
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that he started all the way back. That the death of his father was like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, they went up to Dane Whitman's castle that he has, and they found that there was a force field around it.
And that's not normal.
And no matter what they did, they couldn't get by it. But before they could figure out what the fuck happened, I think this happened before they figured it out. They got attacked by a bunch of troglodytes who lived underneath the sod.
Well, Mantis figured out that it was Doctor Strange.
Okay, she figured that out first?
Yeah.
I didn't remember what order that happened in.
Okay.
Yeah, that was before.
And the troglodytes were basically Neanderthals somehow?
Yep. And then
British Neanderthals.
And then the NHS took care of them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's basically it. Somehow they called NHS took care of them, the end.
Let me tell you my notes on this recap. Avengers go to England to check up on the Black Knight. The castle has a force field that Doctor Strange put up. They get attacked by troglodytes. NHS saves the day. So
thank you, social safety
bulletin.
Thank you, social safety net. Damn you! So I assume that when Margaret Thatcher became PM, she stopped supporting.
I thought you were going to say Markiplier.
Yes.
When Markiplier became Prime Minister of England.
Yes, Markiplier.
He had to get away from the LA gangs.
So he became the Iron Lady. Okay, that's a very, very, very different path than I was expecting.
I want to see that version
Markiplier.
of the Iron Lady.
It's an AU.
But yes, when Thatcher became Prime Minister, she almost certainly stopped supporting the troglodytes.
Almost certainly.
And drove them back underground.
Yes.
Obviously.
She probably used the British Army to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She just deported them off to one of the other members of the Commonwealth.
I mean, that is actually how the British government handles these things.
You think that I was saying that for no reason?
I mean, the way you said it might make some of our listeners think that's not a real thing. It is, in fact, a thing that they like doing, and nobody's too happy about that. Especially
Note that most things I say that sound like they may be, it's generally because that's the way I handle humor. Well, yeah, so after Margaret Thatcher did that...
Doctor Strange is going to go to Ohio, but that's not happening.
Yeah, no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Well, yeah,
so anyway,
because now we're
Dormammu and Loki in an eternity of sin...
Yeah, well, Dormammu is faking an eternity of sin.
Right, and was like, hey... You want to help me take over Earth, babe?
Babe.
I'll help you get your vision back.
Babe.
And Loki was like, yeah, okay, that sounds dope. Before eventually realizing, wait, no, that's stupid.
I'm just getting used in this relationship. I feel like trash. Ugh, I feel disgusting. He's using me.
Meanwhile, the Defenders have Dane Whitman. He is in the house.
Wasn't he a statue?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a statue. So all the Avengers were now following up on this, and they went into the house. They kicked Wong or some shit. Like, what the fuck? Don't be mean to Wong. He was just like here,
doing his job.
So anyway, they were mean to Wong.
That's like kicking Jarvis.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't like it if someone kicked Jarvis, would you? No.
Yeah, but oh no, this just supports my Cap is actually bad theory.
What?
They'd kick Jarvis.
Cap would not kick
Jarvis. No,
but
they would if they kicked Wong.
They would not kick Jarvis. That's different.
They love Jarvis.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. But if they kick Wong, and it's like kicking Jarvis, and they kicked Wong...
No, it's not. It's not good. It's not right. We shouldn't be doing this to Wong. Wong didn't deserve it.
That's what I'm saying.
To be fair, it was Mantis who kicked Wong.
Okay, it was Mantis who kicked Wong. That's right. We were having inter-Asian violence.
Asian on Asian violence.
Oh, no.
Anyway, but Doctor Strange's magic just kind of kicked them all out because he was, like, vibing with, I think, Loki.
He didn't even know it was happening.
Loki was not involved in that.
Loki was not involved in
No,
that?
they were making a very, very, very long-distance telephone call.
Yeah.
Oh, right, they were calling Dane.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were calling Dane, whose spirit was, like, I don't know, out in fucking space or some shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
In somewhere.
In the void. And then Loki intercepted the email.
Loki and Dormammu.
Loki...
No, wasn't it Loki?
No, Dormammu needed Loki to do a man-in-the-middle attack.
Loki needed to do it in the first place.
Yes.
Okay. So they did the man-in-the-middle of the attack to make the defenders be like, okay, what we need to do is go get the 6 pieces of this thing that broke into 6 identical pieces of itself.
We need the apocalypse bomb, and we need to get the pieces of the apocalypse bomb because
that are all shaped like the apocalypse bomb.
And
in
if
and
we
of
put
themselves.
the apocalypse bomb
that will
back
be
together,
explained this episode.
and if we put the apocalypse bomb back together, we get Dane Whitman back, and it's great.
Yeah.
And nothing bad will happen.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, so...
and they were like, sounds cool, sounds legit.
And they were like that because, well, he's the one in the whatever place, so he clearly knows what he's talking about.
He would know. Hawkeye knows him.
Right, Hawkeye knows him.
Hawkeye says he's legit.
So
we can trust Hawkeye.
I don't know, they split off and go their separate ways, and then the Avengers, I guess, Loki, after realizing they're being used, is like, hey... actually you need to kick the Defenders' asses or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And here are these places they're going.
Loki went to the Avengers and were like, hey, the Defenders are bad guys. You should go fight them. And the Avengers were like, sounds cool. Sounds legit. We trust you. For some reason.
Thor took a hot second to get on the level.
Well, yeah, but Vision convinced him to listen to Loki because they're blind.
Right. Would a blind person lie?
Would a blind person lie?
Apparently
they're not capable. Blind people are lesser than us, and therefore we must always treat them like children.
I was going to say, they're better than us. They're incapable of lies. They're beyond us. They've through their suffering, they've become greater.
Either way,
their
Vision
senses are heightened.
Either way, Vision is extremely gross about blind people.
Either way.
And so they go do that, and we only catch up with Wanda and Vision, who go to French Polynesia!
In quotes.
You know, the French Polynesia that looks and behaves as if it has never seen a Western face. Never mind the fact that it's called French Polynesia.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to say a Western face if I see Nora and Rad coming up, which is what they did see, but hey.
Sure.
So let's see, they saw Nora and Rad, they saw Vision. Well, they didn't really see Vision and Wanda, did they?
They saw Wanda. They put her in front of the lava.
They did do that. So that was...
a lot.
Bad.
Yeah, so, they saw Nora and Rad and either mistook him for their volcano god or just decided he was a volcano god.
Right.
Unclear. One of these is worse than the other, but they're both not good either
good.
way.
This is bad writing, guys. Guys.
It's lazy.
Anyway, so after looking all over, Norin couldn't find it, and then he went up into the volcano and decided to just start blasting, see if he could blast the lava out of the way so he could find the fucking rod.
Which will not have any consequences. I promise.
JK.
It's a great idea, blasting in a fucking boiling volcano. That's a great idea.
Blasting an active volcano is safe and reasonable to do.
And fun.
Well, that's when Vision showed up, Vision and Wanda, in the Avengers Quinjet, and Wanda just kind of circled overhead for some fucking reason.
Because she's fucking useless.
Right, while Viz went down to talk to Norin Rad, and then Norin's stupid horseshit made the volcano blow.
Yes, and Vision was going to have a reasonable, rational debate with Norin Rad about volcano use.
Debate me, bro.
Up until
he saw
Yeah, up until he saw the volcano hit the fucking Quinjet that was cycling because this is so fucking lazy and contrived.
And then Vision's berserk button was pressed, and he
put
started
on his bear shirt.
And he started to do his best to beat the ever-living shit out of the former Herald of Galactus. Which will never go badly, I promise. Even if you're Vision. It can't go badly.
And since the volcano is going to go off, the locals wanted to appease the volcano god, and so they just found Wanda in the wreckage and just put her in front of the lava.
Yeah.
Woo! That's not terrible writing!
Well, Vision decided he had to save her, even though he was, trying to beat Norrin Red to death.
Yes, his need to protect his girl
woman.
Overrode his need to murder the ever-living fuck out of the man who endangered her.
Yep, and then Norrin Red left.
Because he wasn't...
Yeah, I think he told the Defenders that the Avengers were bad news bears.
But otherwise, he was only mildly inconvenienced.
He also, Norrin got
he got the thing.
Yeah.
The MacGuffin.
Yeah, but otherwise, he was only mildly inconvenienced by Vision, which,
yeah, kind of.
is kind of funny, actually.
I mean, to be fair, I think if Wanda hadn't been in danger, it would have been a more even fight.
I think they would have talked about it like rational individuals.
Well, yeah,
and,
that's true.
Figured out
there wouldn't have been a fight in the first place.
That pair, yeah, probably.
Yeah, they would have solved the beef. But look, if it was Hulk, what doesn't matter if there's, talking to be done. Hulk's gonna smash because Hulk's gonna smash. But Vision and Norrin, come on. They could have.
They're very philosophical, both of them.
And it might have taken
an
hour or two for them to actually get to the point, but they would have gotten there eventually.
The locals are just standing around taking notes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
and Indiana mention.
Yeah, Indiana is...
Very Indiana.
No, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fortnite, Indiana.
Fortnite? Fort Wayne is where one of the pieces of the evil eye is.
Because of reasons!
Because of reasons.
Tony's going to hang out with sunny senoritas.
He is.
Whereas Doctor Strange is maybe going to Fort Wayne.
Someone's in Los Angeles.
Thor.
Right. I don't remember if there was another place. Hulk is...
in Los Angeles.
So Los Angeles is going to get smashed.
Yeah.
Because, let's be real. See, that's why I was saying, Norrin and Vision would eventually figure things out. And
new headline in the Daily Bugle, Hulk sets off earthquake.
Yeah.
Whereas, Hulk and Thor on opposite sides of the
California
thing,
dislodges from the mainland.
There's
after Hulk induced San Andreas fault.
Hulk and Thor.
Hulk by way of Thor.
Right. I think it's important to mention that
Thor by way of Hulk after Hulk spikes Thor into the ground to split it.
Yeah.
To split the earth in twain.
I mean, that's the thing about Hulk power level creep. We don't really know how strong he is these days.
Before we get into that, we're gonna read Defenders number 9 from July of 1973.
Look out, Iron Man! Hawkeye's got new friends.
Yeah,
written by Steve Englehart, penciled by Sal Buscema, inked by Frank McLaughlin, colored by Petrus Gattezi, lettered by Artie Simek.
Because I think Hawkeye's going to need those friends to fight Iron Man.
Well, I think he's got them in spades behind him. I think Tony's pretty outmatched.
Well,
on the cover, anyway.
On the cover. On the cover, Tony would be
The cover does
dead.
not necessarily dictate reality.
True, but if this was the cover fight, fuck, man.
Tony dies in 5 seconds.
You get two. He can fight 2 of any one of these. As long as it's not Hulk and Namor. He could fight Hulk and Strange, or he could fight Namor and Strange.
I'm not sure he could fight Hulk and Strange.
Yeah.
I think if he was going to fight Hulk, it would have to be Hulk and no one.
Yeah, I think you're actually right on that.
He always has trouble fighting Hulk, so...
Everyone has trouble fighting Hulk.
Exactly.
That's why he makes special Hulk fighting armor.
Mm-hmm, and those still don't work.
Yeah, I love how dysfunctional his Hulkbuster armor actually is. It's great.
So, let's get into the issue.
Let's get it started.
Dr. Strange is startled as suddenly his magic wards are not only breached, but destroyed.
Ooh.
This happens a lot to him.
It does. He braces himself for a fight just before the Silver Surfer comes sliding through the window with grave news. As you can tell by the silhouette.
Hey, Silver Surfer!
I like the coloring on Dane.
Yeah, it's actually really nice looking.
I'm just wondering, there's a way to come in, isn't there?
We'll cover that. The Surfer did not have time to let Steven take down the defenses the normal way because...
I'm sorry,
he has to urgently deliver the news that the Avengers stand against them in their quest to obtain the Evil Eye.
I'm sorry, are Steven's curtains outside of his fucking window?
Valid question.
I mean, he is a New York weirdo.
He is?
Like
I think that's just the curtain covering the other side of the window, because it's like two things that go...
But he is a New York weirdo. And
maybe this is just one of his eccentricities.
Strange has a hard time believing this, so he turns to the Orb of Agamotto to scry for proof. Viewing Avengers Mansion, he finds the active members are not home, but he is able to sense the lingering presence of Loki, as well as that of Swordsman, a well-known international criminal whose attempt at reform isn't widely known yet.
God.
Finding these two villainous people attached to the Avengers is enough to convince Steven that something is up, and he hypothesizes that Loki may be controlling their minds.
God, anytime someone tries to reform people, do this fucking shit. You notice that?
yeah.
Every time in these fucking comics, it's like, geez, you want these people to stop doing fucking crimes or what?
Right?
No. The answer is no. They
want them to be in prison forever.
Look, this is the Marvel Universe.
This is not me making... This is not any social commentary or anything.
Not at all.
Look, New York has a ultra supermax prison off the coast, not far away. I'm fairly certain the prison industrial complex...
It's alive and well.
Yes. Fucking Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic building their own private prison.
I haven't forgotten that.
It's only a minor...
Never forget.
It's only a minor escalation.
Yeah, it's not all that far off.
Frankly.
Either way, though, it's imperative that the other defenders must be warned. The Surfer says that he's going back out to aid their teammates, but Doc Strange needs to stretch his legs and insists on making his way to Indiana post-haste.
So we are going to Indiana. Woo!
Leaving Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, around.
Shut up! Leaving Norrin behind to guard the Black Knight. Meanwhile, Vision is filling in the other Avengers on his experience from last issue, and the misunderstanding just keeps getting worse.
Yep, and he turned off his highlights because he's mad.
Misunderstanding fight!
Okay. And now, ladies and ladies, let's get ready to rumble!
I mean, I'm pretty sure this is just misunderstanding fight the event.
We have an exciting fight for you today, a long-awaited rematch between two enemies turned friends turned enemies.
I like that Hawkeye's riding Pillion.
In the red corner, he's got a heart of steel and a face to match. His resume says he's Tony Stark's bodyguard, but he never seems to be doing his job.
Yeah, where's Tony? Where's Tony? Where's Tony, Iron Man? Where's Tony?
It's the second strongest Avenger, Iron Man!
Woo! Is he? Is he the second strongest
They
Avenger?
say it in this issue.
Oh, god damn it.
And in the blue corner, we have a Carney with a bow and arrow.
Hey, Tony Stark's bodyguard. Why don't you pick a better arch nemesis?
It's not...
Hawkeye's his arch nemesis.
I don't think so.
Yes, clearly.
Well, it did originate as an Iron Man villain.
Yeah, but not his arch nemesis.
Makes you think.
Yes, Gavers and Germs, it's Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
I can't help but think that the...
we are gonna blow out the mics so much in this episode.
That the woman he's riding with might be a little more dangerous to...
No shit!
Valkyrie's looking hot.
She's always looking hot.
Yeah, I feel like Valkyrie's got better odds against Tony than Hawkeye the Archer.
Valkyrie's costume, am I gonna put as that fucking image is like, as a feminist, I am unhappy, but as a lesbian.
Setting astride the Black Knight's winged horse, Aragorn, Valkyrie and Hawkeye set down in Monterrey, Mexico. Several of the locals make statements in Spanish that I didn't bother to translate because I don't think they're important. And Clint laments that he didn't take a second year of Spanish when he was in school. Val also can't understand them because we're still acting like the Enchantress created her, as if that's something she can do.
Sure.
Suddenly, Doctor Strange appears in the sky to warn them about the Defenders.
I hate when that happens.
Oh my god, he has his own FaceTime.
Seems like there was a more subtle way to do that, but whatever. Clint is...
He has to do that in a way that everyone can see?
Right, exactly. Clint is shocked by the news, and finds it hard to believe, having been close with the Avengers until recently. Valkyrie believes it quickly enough because she hates the Avengers, which Clint says is Amora speaking through her.
Okay, cool. That's cool. That's shitty. I mean, just from my brief understanding, that seems pretty shitty.
This is gonna be even shittier. He then kisses her non-consensually out of nowhere.
What the fuck?
Val swipes her sword at him, declaring him a male chauvinist pig.
Oh, and then she leaves.
But he was a good kisser.
Hawkeye apologizes, but I'm not inclined to forgive him because he only did it so that she wouldn't kill his sorry ass.
She should kill him.
Valkyrie then gets back on the horse and rides away.
And in fact, Tony should kill him. I mean, he's just as guilty of that kind of thing.
Tony's down here to see the sunny senoritas.
Tony has never done anything non-consensual in his life. He is a lover boy.
Fair. You know, that is true.
Yes.
So you're telling me that this kiss is a bridge Tony has never...
Yes, absolutely, like, 1,000%.
Of all the... and Tony has done a lot of terrible things in his life, but of the terrible things, he's never done...
No.
He's never even been a minor sex pest.
No.
Wow. Fuck you, Clint.
He's a womanizer, but in the way that, like, he falls in love really easily.
Okay.
And anyone who writes him any other way doesn't understand his character. Moving on. Clint muses for a moment about his bad luck with women.
Maybe don't force kisses on them like that. You could have scored with her without doing that.
Yeah, that probably would... Yeah.
After Wanda and the Black Widow dumped him, which, given his behavior, I cannot blame them for.
He is lucky to be alive.
He thinks Valkyrie reminds him a bit of Natasha back when they first met. When they were just two crooks trying to take on Iron Man.
He just recognizes the leotard.
Yeah.
It is amazing this man is not dead from one of those 3 women at this point.
Speak of the devil and he shall appear, as the armored Avenger streaks across the sky, failing to notice Hawkeye's presence.
Would you?
No.
I mean, he's purple. You might, but would you?
Tony is focused on finding the evil eye before he encounters whichever Defender is coming this way, because Loki told them where the evil eyes are, but didn't tell them which Defenders were going to be there.
Well, I imagine Loki couldn't see that.
That's fair.
I mean, you know, as much as that's good, I can't unsee Iron Man's iron nipples.
Oh, he has those.
I can't unsee
Easy
them.
access.
That's just how it is. He plugs into those, by the way.
Yeah.
Those are
There's nipple ports. There's nipple ports.
They are.
When he needs to give himself a jump.
So you know, he hooks himself up to a car and goes clamp.
George.
No, he plugs himself into the wall.
Well, in an emergency, a car is fine too.
That's true.
It's just got the clamps on there, and it looks extremely kinky, but it's really just a mechanical thing.
It's just to jumpstart his pacemaker.
Right.
So when he tells people, this is not the worst you've caught me doing.
Yeah.
He's talking about, sexy car, battery, BDSM
I mean, he is a car guy. We know this about him.
He's thought about it.
My strange addictions, Tony Stark.
He's thought about it. He's definitely thought about it. He's almost certainly tried it. Come on.
Maybe when he's drunk.
So he decides that the most logical place to check is the local university.
Oh, what the fuck are you wearing, my dude?
I don't think this is...
That is...
too big a stretch to imagine his line of thought here. He's a big brain guy who values sciencey stuff, so I understand why it would be on his short list of ideas.
Also, that's where his company buys all its best tech.
What's more... I'll kill you. What's more shocking is that he's right, and somehow immediately finds the exact man who has the artifact.
That's a neat trick.
Tony, of course, is fluent in Spanish, and so is able to converse easily with Professor Martin Figueres. The professor explains that the device burst from the ground near the mountains several years ago and was immediately brought to him so that he could study it.
Professor of what exactly?
Dunno.
Archaeology.
He's surmised that it's around 700 years old, but has gleaned nothing of its purpose or abilities. He hands it over to Iron Man for examination, who notes that there are grooves along the sides, suggesting that it fits inside a larger piece, as well as the fact that it's hollow, suggesting that something else goes inside.
Oh, God.
So it seems like the 6 identical pieces are more of a Russian nesting doll situation.
Yeah, it's just a stack of funnels.
Which, makes more sense than what we assumed before.
This is just a stack of funnels.
The Doomsday device is a stack of funnels.
It is. I wish we had one of those. I could use a funnel sometimes. Anyway.
I'm sure my dad could get you a funnel.
Suddenly, a clawed arrow shoots through the window and snatches the device from Tony's hand.
I wonder who that could be.
Before flying back outside to Hawkeye's waiting hand.
I was sure it was going to be someone else.
I have to imagine this arrow is remote controlled somehow, because there's no other way it would make a fucking 180-degree turn in midair.
It's magic.
Oh, I thought it had like a cord on. I didn't realize. I thought it had like a cord on it. It just went
yoink. That would be funny.
No, that would have made sense.
Iron Man, of course, already knows what's up, and flies out the window toward the Archer. He's flying straight for him instead of doing any evasive maneuvers, which seems kind of silly when you're up against a guy who specializes in projectiles.
Who you know.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows you?
Hawkeye demonstrates this by shooting Iron Man in the face with an explosive arrow.
Well, negotiations have failed.
With his foe prone on the ground, the Archer lines up another shot, but Tony shoots it out of the air before hitting Clint with his repulsor ray.
And then Clint experienced massive
trauma
to his ribs, shattering most of them, and fell to the ground and couldn't get up.
Let's just say all these super suits are really reinforced.
He advances, grabbing at the Defender, but Hawkeye reaches into his quiver and smacks Iron Man with a surprise acid facial.
Woof!
Which starts to instantly eat away at his helmet.
No more acid attacks. Acid attacks are fucked.
Hey, Tony, maybe you should have shattered that man's ribs.
Do you want to know something fun about Hawkeye's origin? When he first showed up, he fought Iron Man with special arrows that specifically made iron rust. That was his plan. Arrows that make iron rust. This was never explained in any way.
Did they work?
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Of course they did.
Because Iron Man wasn't made of steel or anything better.
No.
He was just...
That's why he's called Iron Man.
Yeah, but I figured it was more of a metaphor.
Metaphor what?
I don't know. Something better than iron?
I get glared at. Having nothing to neutralize the acid, Tony decides that the only course of action is to fly straight up fast enough to evaporate the acid with friction.
I'm sorry, what?
And I'm no chemist.
I'm sorry, what? What?
That sounds like bullshit.
I'm sorry, what?
You should have given Hawkeye a hug.
He then loops back on the assault, declaring that the heat of the acid only activated his thermocouple to give him more power.
What?
He does a quick flyby to knock Hawkeye off balance, then presses forward with his repulsor rays, trying to keep the Archer pinned against a nearby wall.
And somehow this does not permanently injure the man.
Yeah, somehow. With a great deal of effort, Clint manages to pull an arrow from his quiver and shoot it straight up into the air. Tony gloats for a moment before it comes back down and draws his hand toward it because it's a magnet.
How much does it weigh? It weighs an arrow's weight, so Tony's arm should weigh more, so it just should go flying towards him if he's, for some reason, magnetic, which which wouldn't make a lot of sense, but let's just, for the sake of argument, assume that maybe he is.
Yeah, he's still made of iron and could still be hit with the rust arrow at any moment in time.
But just because of the weight of the thing, it should go tink and be, you stuck it. If he was smart, it would explode then. But no, this was just to make him blast a building?
Yeah, so before...
Just to make him endanger a bunch of grad students.
Yeah, so before he can shut off his repulsor, it blasts one of the nearby buildings.
A construction site.
Conveniently, this building is under construction, which you notice happens a lot in early comics.
I do.
So there's nobody inside, but the falling rubble still poses a danger to passing students. Iron Man leaps into action and manages to shore up the damaged building, as well as save all the bystanders within a minute and a half, which is goddamn impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Props.
Spider-Man would have taken 5 minutes. But then Spider-Man would have taken 10 minutes to make friends with everyone, so...
This is, however, just enough time for Hawkeye to escape into the nearby woods with the evil eye in hand. But wait, don't touch that dial. Our main attraction, the one on the cover, is finished, but you may have noticed we've got several more pages.
Mm-hmm.
We've got another batch on our hands, and this time it's a spicy 2 versus 1 in a cornfield.
Oh my God! Welcome to Indiana, folks!
Representing the Defenders, we have the one and only Sorcerer Supreme, defender of our plane of existence, it's Dr. Strange!
This is an accurate depiction of Indiana, everybody.
And
that's just everybody in the cornfields. They're really psyched.
And in the Avengers corner, we've got a surprise tag team up of a Wakandan prince in a fursuit and an Asian stereotype with antenna.
Give him the chair!
That's right, it's the Black Panther and Mantis.
Woo!
Yes, this gag is going to continue. In the vastness...
Yeah, but it is getting briefer and briefer every time.
Yeah, well, the first one was the funniest. In the vastness of Indiana, Doctor Strange has managed to narrow his search to a single cornfield, which is impressive, because Indiana is mostly cornfields.
It's more corn than man.
Well, he could narrow it down to the ones that make up Fort Wayne.
True. He uses a spell that illuminates the stalks of corn until one spot reflects the beacon back at him, revealing the precise location of the artifact.
You know, as someone who's been to Fort Wayne, that's actually kind of one of the few things they don't really have in abundance.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe it or not, they don't have that much corn. It's because it's a city.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, T'Challa and Mantis have already been searching for hours to no avail. They are both tireless, however, so they're still at it. Unlike Ripley and I, that one time we decided to do a corn maze and got lost immediately and gave up. They're walking down a
rematch, motherfucker.
They're walking down a rough tractor path when they see a beacon of light up on the other side of the field. They can't be sure what's causing it or what it means, but they start running towards it because it's a welcome break in the monotony, at least.
Well, maybe they'll find something else interesting in Indiana.
Stephen has found the evil eye already, just kind of laying on the ground.
What the fuck? No farmer found it before this?
We established in the last part that it broke apart years ago, which begs the question of why the farmer who owns this land left it there.
More importantly, how the farmer put a new bit of corn down and didn't destroy their
right? Yeah, the
machinery.
corn doesn't stay there all year, Steve.
like the heavy machinery went in this field.
All the shit. Maybe that's what happened. Is it got picked up and just kind of spit out real luckily.
It's been going through
for multiple years in a row.
Corn machines multiple times.
Well, I mean, it's an evil eye, right? It's like super mystical and powerful, right?
And can survive farm equipment.
It's not gonna get fucked up by a combine.
Whatever the case, Strange has it now, and he decides that his wisest course of action is to slip away unseen before any Avengers sniff him out. Mantis and the Panther arrive moments later to find no sign of their quarry, but T'Challa notes that some of the stalks are bent, and is able to use his expert tracking skills to lead them out to a nearby road.
That's a fair play.
Yeah, but like Steven, can't you leave by other means? Do you actually have to hoof it?
Several people
if he flew, they'd have seen him too.
Yeah, they'd have seen him. Several people are standing at a bus stop here. All very homespun country types.
Bus stop?
Why?
Near a cornfield.
Yep. They're homespun country types who are taken aback by the appearance of the superheroes.
Oh god, these writers don't know how buses work in the middle of nowhere. They don't.
They don't know how the middle of nowhere works.
That's true.
One of them seems to misidentify T'Challa as Tigra.
Okay.
Hey, it could be.
But he corrects this by introducing himself, which only puts the old white people from the middle of rural Indiana more on edge.
I don't think he cares, though.
No, he shouldn't. Mantis asks them where the other stranger went, and they say that they didn't see anyone else. T'Challa is confused by this, but Mantis senses magic at play and focuses her attention on the country folk as they queue up to get on the bus. Abruptly, she lashes out at an old woman, knocking her onto the bus. She declares that this is Dr. Strange, batting aside the local men who rush to the defense of the poor old lady and ignoring T'Challa, who is also not cool with her doing this.
Fair.
Then, from under the bus, she is hit with a mystical force that knocks her back.
Okay, what?
Strange flies out, evil eye in hand, and soars back over the fields. The Panther takes off without waiting for Mantis to regain her feet. High above the ground, Stephen considers his options.
You know, you could just keep going up.
Yes, up. They probably can't follow at this point.
He feels that the Avengers have no one who can truly counter his magic. And he's right. But now that he's been revealed, they can easily follow him in their jet. He could turn invisible, but that would apparently mess with his cloak of levitation somehow. He looks down and sees no sign of his pursuers, hoping that they just let him go.
Okay.
Which is
pick up, fly, set down, go invisible for a while.
You know, they let him go. They let him go. It's cool, I promise.
But then, the Black Panther bursts forth from the rows of corn, and using his abilities honed by hunting in the jungles of Wakanda, he leaps from a tractor to a silo and then straight into the air, slamming into the flying wizard.
I'm rooting this man's fucking silo. What the fuck?
Stephen loses his grip on the evil eye as they grapple for a moment, but then he blasts T'Challa with the Eye of Agamotto and sends the Avenger tumbling back to Earth. Which is, suboptimal.
Hey, Eye of Agamotto, why don't we show people what's going on?
Strange.
Nah, we're gonna blast people instead.
Stephen would have to think of that.
True.
Strange dives downward, catching his foe just 10 feet from the ground. T'Challa rewards him with a swift kick in the face. Meanwhile, their scuffle has been noticed by the farmer who owns the land.
That's fair.
Who runs outside with a shotgun.
That's fair.
The sign said, "No trespassing, you weirdos."
I mean, that's
now
not
taste buckshot.
Well, they'll spook the livestock, unlike my fucking shotgun.
Let's be real. The livestock are already spooked at this point.
The livestock are used to his shotgun.
It's specifically said to be buckshot, which makes it somewhat odd when Mantis manages to tackle both the men out of the way. She then knocks the gun out of the man's hand before turning to Strange.
That was some weird art.
Yeah. Stephen, for some reason, opts not to use his magic because he has martial arts training, of course.
Why?
When? Where? How? I've never seen him use a single bit of martial arts training.
When he trained in the Himalayas.
Lame. He's a fucking nerd. He should just, have no fucking physical fighting skills.
I'm pretty confident future writers have decided that he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't. And the two engage in some light fisticuffs for a brief moment.
Well, obviously, because she's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's a woman and he can't fight.
At least until the Panther regains his feet and yells that he's going to flank the Defender while Mantis keeps him busy. And once again, I have to say that comic book characters need to stop shouting their plans before doing them.
Yes, okay, we get it, guys. You don't need to do that. You don't need to say it out loud.
It's like the American version of when characters in anime yell the name of their attack.
It's American anime.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Hearing this, Doctor Strange stops fucking around and hits them with a beam of fuck you.
Woo!
Before retrieving the evil eye and flying off into the distance. And this time the Avengers don't follow him for some reason.
You know, I gotta say, I've been rooting for Doctor Strange this whole time, and mostly just because his cape is really cool.
And that's Indiana, folks.
And that's Indiana. What do you guys think of this issue?
What the fuck out of 5? 3, I guess? What the fuck?
I don't...
This is so stupid. I love it. This stupid is terrible, actually.
It is terrible, but Doctor Strange looks like he's being drawn from a comic. So when is this from? 70?
73.
Take a decade off of that at least. That jaw and hairline looked like it was at least 10 years or older.
What would you rate the issue, John?
I don't know, 3, I guess, if I'm being generous. I'm not sure I am, but sure.
We're going to move on to our next part. In Avengers number 117. From August of 1973. Written by Steve Englehart. Penciled by Bobby Brown. Inked by Mike Esposito. Colored by Petra Scatezzi. And lettered by June Braverman. That's very loud.
I know, I'm picking it. June Braverman is a new name for us, unless it isn't and I fucked up, which has never happened because this is a high competency operation.
I don't remember the name. Sounds new to me.
Anyway, it's a women in comics situation, and I can't find nothing about the bird.
Oh no.
Alright, that was worth getting the music out for.
Yeah.
Definitely. The music will be a recurring gag.
Hey, I bet you guys can't guess whose arm this is.
Firelord?
Firelord. That's a guess.
I
don't know anyone else who's red and yellow.
The Human Torch?
Well, after 3 high-profile super brawls, Dormammu is taking notice. He raves furiously about how his plan was flawless and the Avengers should never have learned that the Defenders were after the Evil Eye.
Well, they've lost at every turn, so who cares?
Exactly. He asks Loki if they know anything about it, and they're like, come on, I'm just a little guy. I'm just a blind little guy. I didn't do nothing, and it's my birthday. I'm just a blind little birthday boy.
I'm a blind guy. Would I lie to you?
Would a blind person lie to you?
Dormy is like, right, yes, of course. How could I imagine the Norse god of mischief would be capable of fucking with me?
How could I imagine that the god of lies would lie to me?
Of course, he can't intervene lest he risks showing his hand, so all he can do is watch and wait. Loki asks if now wouldn't be the ideal time to fix their eyes, but Dormammu says that he can't while his soaps are on. Okay.
Loki, you need to find better relationship material.
Okay. I'm going to ask you guys to please hold your commentary for the next page, because I know you're going to have concerns, and I promise they will be addressed.
Okay.
Okay.
I trust you.
It is now time for another epic match between 2 equally skilled combatants. It's time for a rumble in the jungle down in Bolivia. On the Defenders' side, we have a Shield Maiden, handpicked by Odin himself to carry the souls of the honorably slain from the battlefield to Valhalla. It's Valkyrie! Not to be outdone, the Avengers have sent the one, the only, French guy with a sword. That's right, it's Swordsman!
I didn't do the thing because I was too busy reading.
It's okay.
And
I want answers.
I'm gonna tell you. Armand is alone in the Quinjet above a remote part of Bolivia, where he spies what appears to be a German-style castle jutting out of the forest. He finds this strange, theorizing that it may have been built by one of the Nazis who fled to South America after World War II.
Oh, we are really going with that, huh? At least in theory.
I can't think of what other explanation we would have.
He then muses on how stupid his life is for a moment, thinking about how he used to be a super criminal who thought himself big shit, but in reality he wasn't much more than a hired goon, without a single friend or an ounce of respect until he met Mantis.
Because, I mean, look at this. There's some guy who built a German-style castle in the middle of the forests of Bolivia.
Right, what other reason would it be there?
Who does that?
And now he's turned his coat and been accepted by the Avengers.
You know what? It could be one of those rich weirdos who buys, like, a castle stone for stone and reconstructs it.
I swear I've heard of something like this.
That's a thing. People have done that.
He wants to prove to them that their trust hasn't been misplaced. As he angles the Quinjet toward the ground, he abruptly comes under attack as Valkyrie swoops down on Aragorn's back, slashing at the engines while the horse kicks into the cockpit with his hooves. They fly away immediately as the plane careens out of control, though Val trusts that the Avenger can manage a safe landing. Swordsman barely does, climbing out of the cockpit to find his assailant disappeared.
Well, I would sure hope so, given that he was attacked by a flying horse.
Now he's grounded, and the castle looms before him. He figures that if Valkyrie saw fit to attack him now, this must be the right place, so he goes up to knock. The door is answered by a white American man, much to Swordy's relief, because that means they can understand each other. Armand introduces himself and inquires after the man's other visitor, upon which he gets invited in. The owner of the castle says that no, there's no one else here, which is just the way he likes it. He confirms that the place was built by a Nazi who was captured in 1949, after which the structure stood empty until he bought it a few months ago.
Okay, so he is an eccentric rich guy. Yeah. The answer is both?
So it was built in 46, captured in 49, and then question mark number of years before he moved in.
Yeah, so this guy is some unnamed American millionaire who just likes being alone.
John McAfee moved to this German castle.
That's his name.
This Nazi German castle in Bolivia.
Just then, there's a creaking from upstairs, which Swordsman immediately runs to investigate. He finds Valkyrie snooping around in some treasure chests.
I like that he has treasure chests.
And if you're gonna buy a castle,
if you're gonna buy a castle in the middle of a Bolivian forest, you're probably doing some shady shit.
Commit to the bit.
And immediately the two are ready to fight. Valkyrie apparently stole the Black Knight's sword, as well as his horse.
Oh.
Wow, I guess we don't respect any of his things.
I don't know a lot about the Black Knight, but I'm pretty sure the sword is kind of his whole deal.
It is.
Isn't it magical?
I think it's also cursed.
Bound to a specific person and also cursed?
I don't know if it's bound to a specific person. I do think it's cursed.
Look, so she has to wield it as just a random blunt object. But she can roll for that.
But then again, in this story, we also forgot that Thor needs to have his hammer with him, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Anyway, Swordy pulls out his swordie, and the two start dueling. It's very fun and flashy as they fight their way down the stairs by sliding on the railing, before Val leaps and grabs onto a fluttering tapestry.
Which is why we needed a German-style castle in the middle of Bolivia.
Yeah, for a cool sword fight, obviously. Swordsman leaps after her, his blade catching the fabric and tearing it as his weight pulls him down, causing the both of them to crash to the floor below.
Rip.
I love this.
The fight continues here, but Valkyrie notices the unnamed millionaire opening a comically large door with a novelty padlock. Look at this thing.
And it has a novelty key. It's the size of his arm.
Oh my god.
And she hypothesizes that's where the real treasure is. She knocks Swordy out with a quick swipe before running into the vault after the man, wherein she indeed finds a stash of jewels containing the piece of the evil eye. Swordsman comes in after her, having been only momentarily knocked out, but with the two costume weirdos focusing on each other, the owner of the castle pulls out some kind of ray gun or something and shoots Armand in the back.
Oh.
A gun that goes Kaz?
Kaz. As they do.
Kaz.
And shoots kind of a bubbly...
Mind you, that is Kaz with a Q. I want to make that clear.
That's why I was not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Swordsman turns to the man, shock and anger on his face. He stumbles forward, but manages to run the man through before he collapses. Yeah. And that's direct action, my friends.
So, a rich man down.
Valkyrie assesses the swordsman's wound, declaring that it's quite serious, but he likely won't die.
Yeah, he's just been shot. He'll be fine.
She promises to get a doctor for him, which he weakly protests as he clutches at the evil eye before slowly going silent. She considers him for a moment before prying the artifact from his hands, but as she does, she hears approaching footsteps.
Wait, so how in the middle of nowhere is this?
I don't know.
Maybe
it's not explained. What do you want from me?
I want to know the specific geopolitical state of Bolivia at this point.
It's just to the right of the panel that we saw is a city.
The local police are here, as the arrival of the jet and the flying horse have only deepened the captain's suspicions about the American.
Oh, have they been...
The town grew up around the castle because the Nazi needed people to build the castle!
Oh my god.
And now they've been watching this place like a hawk because someone moved in.
Valkyrie salutes her honored foe before making a tactical retreat just before the cops arrive to find the two men, one dead and one seriously injured.
Who they grab in the most uncomfortable way for a man who's been shot.
They load swordsmen into their...
Beneath the knees, what is that?
They load swordsmen into their vehicle.
Yeah, that's it's a hatchback.
And Val flies back for New York. This seems like kind of a bad place to leave Armand, if I'm being honest. Like, I feel like he's going to be charged with murder here.
And he's probably going to die in a Bolivian prison.
And he's going to be deported again.
He's going to be put into prison and deported and die?
Yeah.
No, he's going to die in prison before he gets to be deported.
They're going to say they're deporting him, but he's actually in the prison.
Oh, I know what happens. They are going to put him through deportation processes, but the infection he gets from the gunshot that was only hastily stitched up kills him before they're actually able to finish deportation.
There we go.
Yeah. So moving on to our next round, we have an exciting matchup planned. On one side, we have the Star-Spangled Man with the plan, Captain America!
And I'm proud to be American!
And on the other hand, we have the most stupidly complicated character, who is a fishman, but also a human, but also a mutant. And is evil, but also cool sometimes, except for when he wants to commit genocide.
Didn't he fight with Captain America in World War II?
He did! He's the worst version of Aquaman. That's right, it's the Submariner.
No. Aquaman is the worst version of Aquaman.
I disagree.
Namor's cool.
Aquaman can talk to whales.
It's true. No, that's cool.
Is it, though?
Yeah. You wouldn't want to talk to whales.
They're probably assholes.
I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to talk to whales, but I will say it's not like a super impressive fighting thing.
No.
You have to think of it differently. They can tank bullets for you.
So, Cap's arrival in Japan hasn't been quite as fun as he'd hoped.
I'm shocked.
Right, I forgot he went to Osaka.
The locals gather around him to jeer and protest, with one calling him an imperialist.
Because he is.
Which is fair, but also kind of ironic coming from Japan.
I mean, it is that, but after the war...
Well, after the war, yeah. He did say the last time he was there was during the war, which is a lot.
What were you doing in Japan, Captain America?
Steve attempts to reassure him that he's there on Avengers business in the interest of all humanity, but his claims are refuted by Namor, who is standing on top of a shrine gate that's just kind of here.
And is a paragon of honesty.
Fun fact, those gates are called Torii, and they're meant to mark the threshold of sacred shrines and places in the Shinto religion, so I'm not really sure it's cool to be standing on top of it.
But this is Namor. He wouldn't give a fuck.
Right, but is it less...
I don't think he
knows.
Is it
less cool than Captain Atomic Bomb showing up in the middle of your city?
I mean, it's not even, at this point, it's not even the atomic bombs that are a problem. It's the American naval base problem.
The Atlantean is all bluster, challenging his former ally before jumping down to the street and smacking the onlookers out of the way, which seems pretty rude.
Cap's looking mighty Stallone-esque.
Limited super strength. What?
Yeah.
Was he
He
not?
does that sometimes. No, his original thing was that he was like the limits of human ability, but then sometimes he also has super strength.
That's bullshit.
It's
they say
bullshit.
that, it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. They should just give him super strength.
He has super strength.
He
Don't
does.
But of course, Namor has super strength.
Right, no, he has super duper strength.
Yes.
That's different.
Cap takes advantage of Namor's cocky attitude, waiting for him to get close before smacking him in the face with his shield. Namor punches him in return, but Cap comes back with a sign that he got from somewhere. The Submariner throws the improvised weapon back at Steve, momentarily downing him.
I'm sure this is going to make him even more popular with the locals.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
tearing shit up.
Namor runs for the pier while delivering a monologue to himself about how he can't trust land dwellers.
No wonder...
And after he delivers the evil eye, he's going to quit the Defenders to be a lone wolf again.
Oh my god.
I'm starting to understand why maybe Japan wasn't too cool on the X-Men showing up.
He's so busy talking to himself, literally, that he doesn't notice Rogers get up and follow him until he tries to dive into the ocean and Steve hurls his shield, causing the fish man to belly flop onto vibranium, which cannot be fun.
Wow. Wait, doesn't that mean he now has the shield?
Cap leaps after him and the two start grappling in the water, which seems somewhat ill-advised on Steve's part.
Oh!
But the tussle is cut short as a jet of flame blasts them both apart. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a major upset because Sunfire has entered the ring!
Oh, wow! I was not prepared for Sunfire.
He's a local boy!
I really thought you guys were gonna get it, but you forgot the Cap was going to Japan.
I did.
Yeah,
that was
I'm sorry.
the problem.
It's okay.
We've had so many appearances of another red and yellow asshole.
He swoops down, grabbing the evil eye before flying back up above the surface of the water.
I always kind of also forget the yellow in his costume.
Both Steve and Namor try to convince him to pass the rock, but Sunfire is not obliged to help either of these foreign powers who entered the country without asking to fight over some object which he reckons belongs to Japan, though he doesn't know what it is or where it came from.
Steve, you could just ask the U.S. government to demand the Japanese government hand it over.
I think he has a pretty fair point about the blatant disregard for international law.
That is true.
But of course Namor doesn't give a shit.
That is also true.
Leaps out of the water after him.
I like his very toddler-esque, I want that bauble, give it to me!
Steve grabs onto the submariner's ankle and gets pulled along into the sky.
Oh! Okay, I didn't think he could fly.
Yeah. His little ankle wings.
His little ankle wings.
Oh!
Those work.
Those work.
Yes.
They're not just
They're
decoration.
not usually... Look,
No, they work.
most of the time I see him, he's not flying.
He can.
But he can. He doesn't completely agree with Sunfire, but also doesn't mind the evil eye being taken, so long as it's not Namor who's taking it. The two struggle, flipping dangerously in the air, and finally Namor has had enough. He doesn't understand why the Avengers are attacking them when they're just trying to save the Black Knight, who is himself an Avenger. Steve insists that it was the Defenders who kidnapped Dane and turned him to stone, but Namor tells him plainly that his pathetic excuse for a brain has been taken in by a tall tale from the fucking god of lies.
Well, that's, that might get through, maybe?
Namor explains that the Defenders were with the Black Knight when the Enchantress turned him to stone, and Doctor Strange has been trying to fix him ever since, with his latest plan involving the evil eye. He then drops Steve into the water and flies off after Sunfire. Cap bobs to the surface, unable to take to the air himself, and considers this. He was so sure that he was doing the right thing before, but now he's having doubts.
Finally, someone figured things out. And it's just
And
amazing.
it only took Namor telling them
It only took
everything.
Namor being reasonable.
You know, when pigs fly, well, I hear oinking from the sky right now.
Namor catches up with Sunfire, and the latter starts blasting wildly, leaving himself wide open to be taken down with a single punch.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And the evil eye flies from his grasp, falling down into a waiting gloved hand. He may not be completely sure what's going on anymore, but Steve knows that when the MacGuffin literally falls into your hand, you make a run for it. Though Namor lands in front of him once again, but this time he appeals to Cap's reasonable side, simply holding out an expectant hand. Steve doesn't really know what to think. He doesn't have the full story, and there's a lot that doesn't make sense. But he thinks that's exactly why he should trust Namor, because that might just be the only way to clear the fog in the end.
Okay, but we're skipping over the line. Luck can be broken exactly like you.
Yeah. He hands over the evil eye, and the two take off for home, eager to discover the truth of this whole charade. So what did you guys think of this one?
That was better, 3.5.
It was better. Though, this is not the pairing I expected to be reasonable.
I disagree because they're old war buddies.
Right, they're
they know
friends.
each other. Friends. As much as Namor
Namor's
is friends with
capable.
anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, as much as
But,
he's capable of friendship.
Honestly, Cap is usually pretty reasonable.
Unless the mutants are involved.
Well, I mean, Namor is a mutant.
Okay, unless mutants who aren't his friends
We need to go
are
back to
involved.
Defenders.
That's true. He's one of the good ones.
Ooh.
Oof.
Oh, that's really how you think of it, isn't it, Cap?
I don't think so.
But yeah, I'm going with 3.5.
Okay. Let's cap this off with Defenders number 10.
What are you rating it?
3.
Okay.
It was fine. Defenders number 10 from August of 1973. Written by Steve Englehart. Penciled by Sal Buscema. Inked by Frank Boll. Colored by Pedro Scatazzi. And lettered by Tom Orzechowski.
Whoever did this cover really made Doctor Strange look like Stan.
John Romita Sr. did that cover.
John Romita Sr., you really made Doctor Strange look like Stan.
Defenders 10, we have a new... The number of new creative team members this episode will be a running trend. We've got a new name here from Frank Bullock. He is kind of out of place among all these young creatives. He's more in with Stan's generation of artists. Mostly he's known for his work in comic strips rather than comic books, though he did all kinds of illustrations, delving into proper books too. But I couldn't find all that much that jumped out at me about him, despite a prolific career. He does have an Inkpot award. He illustrated the Boy Scout magazine for like 18 years. Ta-da!
Wow.
Yep.
Alright. Well, folks, it's finally time.
The big match. The one you've all been waiting to see. Come on.
Exactly. Probably the best matchup of this whole event.
It better be, because this is the one everyone's here to see.
We arrive in sunny Los Angeles for an all-out brawl between our two heavyweight champs. And in this corner...
Oh.
Oh!
He's chonky.
He thick.
I like him big.
In this corner, we have the Green Meanie, the walking Gamma Bomb. We love it when he's mad. It's the Hulk!
Woo!
You don't want to make him angry. You really wouldn't like him when he's angry.
Well, if you're
Yeah,
spectating a fight.
If he starts kicking ass with those pants, that waistband's a fucking mess. It's gonna be green dick in no time.
And you don't... How often do people in different parts of the world see massive Hulk schlong?
And in the opposite corner, a man who needs no introduction. We know him, we love him, it's the god of thunder and prince of Asgard, the mighty Thor! Hulk is the first to arrive at our venue.
And everyone's running.
And though the citizenry flees in terror at his visage, he walks calmly and carefully down the street until he reaches the precise location that Dr. Strange showed him. It's the middle of a formerly bustling square, a blank patch of concrete in front of a shop. He begins to smash through the ground, ripping up a big section of the walkway to reveal the evil eye nestled underneath.
Huh.
I guess the concrete just got poured on top of it.
They
somehow?
didn't even notice there was a thing.
Yeah, it's not that far down. It's like maybe a foot.
You'd think construction crews would have noticed that, but I guess they weren't.
It was about to be their union-mandated lunch break.
And they weren't paid enough to care.
While Thor arrives at that moment, touching down behind the Hulk and reaching out an entreating hand. The Odinson resorts to violence only when reason is off the table, and so he implores the Hulk to forsake the Defenders and their quest for world domination from one Avenger to another. This might be the wrong thing to say, though, as Hulk left the Avengers immediately because they were kind of shitty to him.
People tend to be shitty to him.
Yes.
It's very mean.
Hulk punches Thor, sending him flying backward into an adjacent building. He turns away, deciding that once he gets back, he might just smash Doctor Strange, too. Because the Defenders haven't been super nice either, and he's only here to help the Black Knight.
Well, apparently must have been nice.
After he declares this, Mjolnir makes a predictable entrance, bouncing off his green hide before returning to its master's hand.
Thor, this isn't a fight you want to get into.
It is. It very much is. Thor advances, challenging the Hulk to face his foe, as he should know full well that Thor is his superior. But this simply cannot be, because as we well know, Hulk is strongest there is.
Hulk is strongest there is.
And you're making him angry. He gets stronger when he's angry.
He's very sensitive about that.
You wouldn't like him when he's angry.
So he promptly begins pounding on the Asgardian to prove it.
Hey Thor, you're about to learn how durable you are.
And the fight is on, much to the horror or possibly excitement of the onlookers.
There's actual excitement.
Watching from presumably what they think is going to be a safe distance. There's a cop calling for backup, which, that's gonna help.
Anyone taking that,
Well, I mean, they might be able to, make a
perimeter.
Right, get the fuck back away from this mess. Maybe we can grab these children and move them to safety.
Thor meets his opponent blow for blow, his mighty hammer knocking the Green Giant prone for a brief moment, before the ghost of Edna Mode briefly possesses Steve Englehart, as the Hulk grabs Thor's cape and gives it a good yank to send him spinning like a top. He then pounds the twirling god on the head in his signature turn you into a tent peg maneuver, sending Thor straight down through the pavement and beyond.
And he says the line!
Hulk only celebrates for a moment before the ground shakes and Thor bursts forth because, as we all know, he is very good at digging holes.
I think that Sal Buscema's faces are really well suited for Hulk.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he said it! Hulk is strongest there is!
Yeah.
He said the line! Yay!
Say the line, Bart!
He did! He did! And he's kind of angry about it.
Eat pant.
The street is very quickly devolving into a pile of rubble, which is only going to help with that infamous LA traffic. Hulk picks up a car with clear intentions, but before he gets a chance, the mystical Mjolnir crashes through the vehicle, smashing it to smithereens. Hulk is annoyed, because throwing things was his idea. But now Thor will not get his hammer back, as green fingers close around the handle,
and never learns his fucking lesson.
Then immediately fall to the ground.
Hulk!
Hulk strains against the hammer, confused and annoyed that he can't pick it up, but leaving himself open for a swift punch.
Hulk!
Hulk is strongest there is! Why this guy able to lift hammer?
Hulk is really mad now, and the implication of a real all-out fight between these two powerhouses, each of whom could easily level a city on their own, begins to sink in among the crowd.
Okay, this isn't actually fun and cool.
The two titans begin to grapple, each meeting each other's strength with an equal force. For a tense moment, nothing moves, as they struggle against each other, neither being able to make up the difference.
That just has to be the funniest thing to see, these two absolute titans of power just kind of...
Frozen.
You know, there's lots of grunting, for sure.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
So Steve says that they stand there pushing on each other for a fucking hour.
Holy shit, I love it.
Which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
That's tremendous. I'm so into it.
At what point here do you realize that raw strength alone isn't going to fix the problem and come up with another plan?
Never. They're stupid. They're both
so
dumb as
dumb.
fucking rocks.
Look, I get why Hulk wouldn't think of anything better, because why would he think of something better than use muscle?
I think one of them should kick the other in the nuts. Finally, their stalemate comes to a close as a voice calls out to them and they turn to find their comrades, both Avengers and Defenders, side by side and ready to uncover the truth of exactly what has been pitting them against each other.
Alright, let's get to the bottom of it.
After an hour. So all this rational discussion has happened off-screen.
Well, we're about to get into that. 1 hour ago, 4 Defenders gathered in the Sanctum Sanctorum. They each brought a piece of the evil eye and considered them side by side, pondering how best to proceed. The Surfer notes that the pieces fit inside each other, which we already learned, but it's nice to have confirmation. The conversation is cut short as Strange tells them to shut the fuck up because Namor's back. And he's actually waiting for him to lower the mystical defenses.
Because he's not rude.
Yeah, well, he is, but...
But not to Stephen Strange.
So, moments later, Namor arrives with guests in tow, The Avengers. Sans Thor, of course.
Namor's head is the most shaped.
True.
It is. How does he fit that head on his body?
I'll tell you one thing, you can't buy a motorcycle helmet.
The Defenders are taken aback and quite upset that Namor would bring their apparent enemies into their base of operations.
I mean, he would. Let's be real. If he felt there was an advantage in betraying the Defenders to the Avengers, he would.
Hawkeye calls him a Trojan fish.
I love it, a Trojan fish.
But Namor begins to explain, telling them about what happened in Japan and how the appearance of Sunfire forced he and Cap to actually talk about what they were doing long enough to realize something was up. So they struck a truce and swung by to pick up the other Avengers so that everyone could have a clear and calm chat about the situation.
And hey, if there isn't actually something up, and they really are actually enemies, they can have a fight about it in close quarters.
Looks weird.
Steve presents their defense, but first T'Challa wants to know what brought the Defenders together, if not to take over the universe.
Wow, it's right in the name, right?
The answer is basically the same reason the Avengers grouped up. True, they may be a bunch of misfits and weirdos, but they still seek to defend the world they live on, and sometimes their goals align, so they formed kind of a loose organization that lets all their members come and go as they please.
I love that Doctor Strange just
Doctor Strange
revenge on humanity. Yes, I can see how you would accept that.
Namor is teamed up with them and also the Hulk.
Yeah.
And they fought with Valkyrie, right?
They fought a Valkyrie. They think this is the same Valkyrie, but it's not. It's not. So yeah, they kind of have a loose organization. Unlike the Avengers, who will commit breaking and entering if you don't answer the phone.
Yeah, they're just more chill. They're the Avengers, but without all the infrastructure and regulations.
The Avengers do not get this, believing that their rigid corporate structure is an advantage.
No esprit de corps. It actually says that. They don't. The Defenders have no esprit de corps. Oh my god.
But they respect the Defenders enough to hear them out. They all chat with each other for a while, sharing what information they can.
Oh, got that. So the Avengers have, bylaw meetings, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
What do those look like?
They have distinct bylaws.
But what do the meetings that determine the bylaws look like? Who is in charge of them?
Whoever is the chairman of the day.
Yeah.
Because they switch it off for some fucking reason.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So the Surfer apologizes for hurting Wanda, as that was never his intention. Hawkeye doesn't apologize to anyone, instead making excuses and refusing to accept any amount of responsibility.
Look, see, this is why you guys almost got into, an actual war, because of people like you, Hawkeye.
Swordsman says Clint is dumb and has always been dumb.
Swordsman is correct.
Hey, Swordsman's not under arrest.
Yeah, he's here. The two normal guys start fighting, but suddenly everyone remembers that they forgot to pick up Thor and Hulk. And they all rush out the door.
So, important question.
Hi.
How did Swordsman get so here quickly after he was in jail shot?
They went to go pick him up.
And they bandaged him up?
I guess.
Somebody had to.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the gunshot. It's fine. It's fine.
He's fine.
He gets shot all the time, actually. It's nothing to him.
Superheroes, maybe.
Hulk is feeling a bit lost, but Thor understands well enough and is ready to uncover the truth of the situation. Knowing that Loki is involved somehow, he explains what happened when last he encountered them in Rutland. Doctor Strange finds the location of that encounter to be no coincidence, recounting how they faced Dormammu there in Marvel Feature Number 2.
Ooh.
The devil may easily have had a lingering presence in the town, and if he has teamed up with Loki, they're in serious trouble. Strange asks Hulk to hand over his piece of the evil eye, an idea that Hulk does not much care for. After fighting Thor so long for it, why should he have to give it up? He strikes the ground in anger, causing a tremor that destroys the entire street down to where the gawkers are still just standing there. Cap goes toward them to get them to clear out, closing the street on Avengers authority.
Cap, Avengers don't have authority here.
They do. Reluctantly, Hulk hands over his section of the evil eye, declaring that it's the last thing he ever does for the Magic Man.
That's fair.
They bring out the rest of the pieces, and Steven lays them out on the ground in order of their size. Just then, a giant mask in the shape of a bird head appears out of nowhere and gobbles up the pieces before flying away.
I can't help but feel like,
bringing all these pieces together was a bad idea.
No shit.
Yeah. And I think they
Because you were clearly being manipulated to find them?
And they knew
Maybe
that?
you should have gone inside before you did it.
Maybe
You should have, left one of them with Jarvis or Wong.
Or all of them somewhere else. Take them away. No.
Anyway, I didn't see the evil bird mask coming, so
No,
I'll
that
give
was,
that points
that
for
was-
originality.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that's more Sex Machina.
Strange identifies this bird thing as Esti, a servant of Dormammu.
Sure.
And with their suspicions confirmed, several of the heroes go airborne to chase it down. They're not fast enough to catch it before it breaches the barrier between dimensions, fading away before their very eyes.
That's a neat trick to outrun the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. Steven begins to wonder aloud why Dormammu would go through all this trouble to get the evil eye.
I
As
wonder.
we've established, it's a fucking atomic bomb.
I wonder why he would try to get this thing. I wonder.
When suddenly the landscape begins to change. The city warps and swirls in a parody of itself, and the looky-loos down the street begin changing into strange monsters.
Oh.
Oh.
Dormammu's flaming face appears in the sky to deliver his State of the Union address. Thanks to the power of the evil eye, the Earth is now part of the Dark Dimension, which makes him the undisputed king.
So he doesn't have to invade their division.
I think maybe up for dispute.
So he doesn't have to invade their dimension because it's his now.
Exactly.
Undisputed.
That was the plan for the
so
beginning.
far.
And I have to say, honestly, that's not a bad plan. That would fit in a more modern comic.
It's legalism. It's a legalist argument.
The Avengers and Defenders, once used as mere pawns in this game, and now united in cause, stand in defiance of this proclamation. And we will find out exactly how they solve the mess next time. So, tell me what you thought of this issue.
Back down to a 3.
Yeah. I wanted more than an hour of Hulk and Thor grunting with no movement.
No, I wanted an entire comic book of Hulk and Thor grunting with no fucking movement.
Yeah.
The same panel
It was honestly
on
kind
every
of
page
mid.
over
Yes.
and over and over.
Yes.
Maybe they start
That would be
adding
funny.
sweat drops.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, they start adding sweat drops,
Yeah.
but it's the same angle, the same basic
Well,
panel.
they also, you see the sun cycle change, it starts getting darker.
People start cleaning up the street around them.
They realize, actually, I guess they're going to be here a while, so we don't have to worry about
They
it.
just start directing traffic around them.
See, you say that Thor should be smarter than this, but also he has, that whole warrior pride thing, so he's like, if this is what we're doing, then this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know? He's like, if I'm gonna beat you, it's gotta be fair and square.
Yeah.
He should be smarter than this. He's not.
God,
Yet-
it's 10 o'clock.
Yes, it is. However, Thor and Hulk have now fought twice, and both of them did not come to a conclusion, so we still don't have a real answer
God damn it.
on that one.
I'm still voting Hulk.
Yeah, I'm with Hulk.
But that's all I have for this episode.
Alrighty. Well, go ahead and press the like and subscribe buttons if you like.
Please.
Let us know down below your headcanon for where the city is next to that German fucking castle, where those fucking cops came from. We're over on Facebook, Tumblr, and Jeter. And theoretically
For however much
Instagram.
longer it exists.
Yeah.
Until they try to make us pay for it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They can do that. I'm not even going to delete our account. I'm just not going to pay for it.
Oh yeah, Elon said somewhere that he wants to make everyone pay for it.
Yeah, good luck. I'm just not going to pay for it, and you can delete my account yourself. I'm not putting in the effort. Anyway, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your guidance counselor, call your grandma, she misses you.
There's a vicious tiger attacking my hand.
Oh no, there's a vicious tiger attack taking place right now, ladies and gents.
I'm being mauled.
Death is happening.
Fucking attack.
Death is happening on our doorstep.
Anyway, on with the show. Okay, so you guys want to tell me what happened last time on X-Men?
No. We had a clip show
Oh.
where they were all at Jean's funeral, and Scott recounted everything
that ever happened
that
with the
happened
X-Men.
with the X-Men so
As
far.
far as he was concerned.
Right.
So, it did have a slant, but
Yeah.
you don't usually get a full recount of everything that's happened in a comic.
and that concluded with Scott leaving the X-Men. And then the other comic we read was an annual where everyone went to hell.
Yes, correct. Why?
Dante's Inferno. Because
sister fucking.
No, that was not why they went to hell.
Right.
I mean, that's why...
Because brother murder.
That's why Kurt's gonna end up in hell.
Because Kurt did brother murder.
Yeah, so...
Yes, the brother murder more than the sister fucking.
So, they thought they were in hell, but it was actually a trick by Kurt's adoptive mother, because it turns out that Kurt's foster brother made him swear to kill him if he ever took an innocent life.
Which he did.
Which is a very normal thing to do with your siblings.
Well,
my favorite memory is when I told both of my siblings to kill me if I ever took an innocent life.
Well,
how did they feel about that?
Fine, it's normal.
More importantly,
it's a normal
have
thing.
you ever taken an innocent life?
Well, no, because they would have killed me.
I feel bad because my sister never asked me that.
Well, you guys aren't very close.
That's true.
Maybe
Maybe I was the one who was supposed to ask.
Maybe.
Was I supposed to ask my sister? Oh no!
Fuck, you guys are not.
All those innocents. Ooh boy.
Oh,
you guys are fucking falling down on the job.
Yeah.
So Kurt vowed to do that, and then that
did
happened.
That. He did it. He did the thing,
which is also very normal. And
so Mom made
after
hell
going
for him.
through all the Rings of Hell, which was like a whole fucking production, and Doctor Strange was also there.
Yes, he was.
And this happened because it was Kurt's birthday, by the way. So
yeah, he died at his birthday
party.
Did.
He did die at his birthday party.
So they all went through the various Rings of Hell of fake hell, and then foster mom was like, "Okay, now that I know that my son made you promise to do that,
it's cool, actually.
It's fine, and you can go back to Earth and be alive again." But then Kurt's foster sister was like, "Hey, I was your girlfriend this whole time," and Kurt was like, "Oh boy,
as my flight attendant girlfriend? Oh my goodness!
My flight attendant girlfriend is also my sister?
Fuck
Gee,
yeah,
golly gosh!
Awesome!
That's the best I think we're gonna get.
And that was
you press F11,
and that was kind of the whole thing.
Yep, you pretty much got it in one. Opening us up, we had the B story from Marvel Treasury Edition 26, one of the million indistinguishably named titles being published at the time.
Yeah.
So indistinguishable that you had to get this one off the back of a truck.
Written by Mary... Well, it's mostly, I think, reprints with, like, extra stories. It's written by Mary Jo Duffy. We've encountered Mary Jo before.
We have.
Penciled by Ken Landgraf. Inked by George Perez, colored by Glynis Wein, and lettered by Michael Higgins.
MODOK looks like an egg.
MODOK's not actually in our story.
Well, no, but...
Our next new name for tonight is Ken Landgraf. And my favorite thing I found about Ken is that he has a Stan story.
Ooh.
I guess on his lunch break, he decided to head up around Marvel headquarters, and he, saw Stan, and Stan's going to lunch, but, Stan, of course, pretty much gives him a pass right up to the top to show his work to John Romita.
Fucking icon.
Okay.
I think that's cute. I love even minor Stan stories, man.
I mean, that's generous.
Man, I wish there were more people like that.
Yeah. There we go.
Jesus.
Wow, you can tell this one fell off the back of a truck.
We open up on Logan being surly in a bar. I don't know exactly when this is placed in time, clearly before Jean's death, Vibes-wise, it seems to be around when he joined the X-Men, because he and Scott have got kind of a different rapport now.
What a bar, too. There's a stuffed lion? Or is that a carved lion?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a stuffed lion or a statue of a lion, but it's a lot, right?
It is a lion in the middle of the room.
Because either way, there is some kind of lion statue.
Consider that they're probably in fucking New York and how much room that is taking up.
Yeah,
how expensive that is.
This is also like a fancy dress bar.
Well, yeah, because look, you can even tell that the bar countertop is shiny.
Yeah.
Like, it must be made of some fancy material.
Swanky bar. Anyway, one of the women in the bar is scoping Logan out, and apparently she likes what she sees, so she approaches. Logan's apparently not much in the mood, though, and nearly runs the woman off by being a rude dickhead before calling after her that, okay, he'll buy her a drink. Mm-hmm. He need not bother, because it is at that moment that the doors swing open, admitting Hercules!
Woo!
Woo! Who, for the sake of the health code, is claiming that little sash of his to be a shirt.
Uh-huh.
God, I was not expecting, of all things, Hercules.
And he's already got, like, a lady on each arm. Mm-hmm. And while Logan's asking that lady he was talking to what the fucking appeal is, she's, like, already gone. She's already joining Herc's harem.
Well,
Logan?
You say you didn't expect Hercules, and yet Wolverine and Hercules is a documented thing. In an alternate universe, at least.
And, I'm sure Hercules will buy her a drink.
Or Hercules will buy him a drink in the right circumstances.
If Wolverine will just kindly get the fuck out of the way, because he's breaking up all the chunks of open bar stools. Logan doesn't want to move himself, and since Logan won't move himself, Hercules will take care of the matter for him.
Yep.
Ooh.
And he's very polite like that.
But the Logan will make room for the redhead.
He's got a type, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, he chucks Logan into the world's sturdiest seat. Great craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Wow, it withstood Herc strength and Logan bone.
This really is a high-class place.
Yeah, that thing then just collapsed under the weight of a massive metal skeleton being thrown by a god.
Wolfie promptly gets back to his feet, stomping off across the bar to start throwing hands with the Lion of Olympus. Herc is initially like, bro, just chill, come have a beer with us, we'll all just hang.
And he would do it.
He absolutely would.
Herc wouldn't have
hard feelings over this.
And Herc would take all three of those women and Logan home with him.
And they would have an amazing night. And day. And night. And day.
And a fortnight, remember? A fortnight knee-deep in poo.
This man has fucked for a fortnight.
He just wants to beat his record. Logan's riled up, and he's pissed off, and he sans handbrakes, so he just starts throwing punches that don't, particularly rock Herc's world.
Hercules is, 2 feet taller than him.
Look, Hercules isn't seeing him as a romantic rival. He's thinking about how high that head is.
Oh, Sean, no!
Stop it! Too much! Anyway, with twitch of the hand, he backhands the X-Man across the bar. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Logan draws his... Yeah, he's been real nice so far. Logan draws
I'm sorry, the backhand also completely opens all the buttons on his shirt.
That's excellent.
That's just the effect that Hercules has on people, I guess.
Of course it is!
Well, Logan draws his claws and he goes in for another round with the Olympian. But Hercules picks up a solid table and intercepts Wolverine.
Hang on. Is that a different lion statue, or is it a real lion because it moved?
No, I think it's the same lion statue.
That is just inconsistently drawn.
Correct.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I think we're by the door, which is where the other one is.
Look, the art style on this one's a little finicky. Okay, this man's insurance doesn't cover superheroes.
No. The owner is very upset, so when Logan comes in for another round with the Olympian, Hercules picks up a solid table and intercepts Wolverine, leaving his claws stuck in the wood.
He's having fun!
Right, this has not improved Logan's mood any, but Herc is still just really entirely jovial about the whole
thing. He's having fun!
This is how he has fun.
Look, if he's not having sex, then a friendly bit of sport is on the menu.
Sparring. Yeah, it hasn't really helped with Logan's mood, but he's in a good mood. Sorry. As Logan tries to wrench his way free, Hercules calls him short, and Logan decides to give him not the chair, but to go for the whole table.
Oh yeah, calling him short isn't a great thing to do.
He brings it crashing down on top of the Olympian, smashing it to pieces. And that at least lays him out on the ground for a couple seconds. Herc is pretty damn impressed with that blow.
Of course.
He's just having fun.
And he finally talks Logan into just chilling and having a beer as all of the partiers and women have fled the bar. And that's the end of the story. How did you guys like that?
5 out of 5. I loved it.
5, yes.
Yeah, 5. Perfect story.
At the end of the day, they had that drink.
Hercules is always delightful.
So is Herc taking Wolverine home with him?
I don't know. Maybe if he dyes his hair red. How do you think CMRO liked it?
2.
Sure, 3?
Right between 2.68. They didn't like that as much as.
Oh, they're lame.
They
have
lame.
bad opinions.
They do have bad opinions. We know this.
Yes, but rarely do we see it on such clear display like this.
Oh shit.
Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, no, I get that's a thing, but aren't we reading X-Men?
Yeah, we are. We're continuing on with the A story from Marvel Team Up 100, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Frank Miller,
Whoa!
inked by Bob Wysek, colored by Carl Gafford, and lettered by Annette Kowecki.
So we're in the Frank Miller era.
Correct. Oh, good, it worked this time. Fuck. There are some new names here. I'm not even going to introduce Frank Miller. There's no point introducing Frank Miller.
You know who he is.
Right, it's like, what, am I going to introduce Stan Lee?
Yes, you have to introduce Stan Lee. I'm sorry.
Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Alan Moore. There's no fucking point. For anyone out there who doesn't know Frank Miller, though, he's a big deal, and much like the aforementioned Alan Moore, he's kind of crazy.
But I think he's a different kind of crazy.
Yeah.
They're like
He's a much more offensive kind of crazy, I believe.
Yes, Alan Moore is nuts, but mostly on the side of angels.
Frank Miller is nuts and weird. Racist. Nuts and racist.
His stuff hasn't aged that well.
On to some other names we might not know, like Bob Wysek. I couldn't find much. He won an Inkwell Award, which is given in the inking field. Shocking. Other than that, he's mostly just a guy.
A guy who inks and won an award for inking.
Carl Gafford is another new name. I thought I wasn't going to find much else until I reread a few of the articles I skimmed and read, and I quote, starting in 1994,
oh God.
Gafford returned to writing and drawing, this time for the anthropomorphic market,
and
produced material that saw printed Antarctic Press, Radio Comics, and Shonda Fantasy Arts. This wasn't cited, so obviously this was an irresistible rabbit hole.
Oh no.
I was all ready to dive in. Boys, I'm ready for my tea party.
Oh God.
What did you find?
He appears to have a hippo fursona, or skin sona, as the case may be. It's kind of cute.
Oh boy! What? Whoa!
He also was involved in the 4th issue of this one, noted for containing furry pin-ups. He's involved in this bad boy.
Oh boy!
Beauty and the Beasts.
So
he's in that early furry era. Oh boy!
Oh, great.
Anyway, I had my fun.
I know more than I want to know about furry stuff because of my roommate.
Well, without your fucking roommate.
No.
I feel like she probably doesn't care.
No, my roommate shares, okay?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Spider's Man is on his way home when suddenly, it's mind!
My mind!
Mid-swing, when the onslaught began, he begins to plummet out of the sky, avoiding a few obstacles by reflex on his way down. His nearby opponent continues to mentally grapple with him, managing to finally fully ensnare him just as Spidey catches himself on a building cornice.
He did bounce off some things, though.
I think he jumped off of them as he kind of managed to spring.
I think it's funnier if he just bounced.
It is funnier if he's bouncing.
And then he gets back home and he's like, I'm covered in bruises.
And then suddenly, something happens.
Oh.
It's unclear whether he loses his grip or if his attacker does, but Spider-Man begins to fall. Reaching out, he digs his fingers into the bricks of the building, but it only slows him rather than stopping him completely.
Ow.
That is not usually necessary.
Also, this girl needs to go to a hospital. Her legs are fucked.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Also, I'm a little concerned on how that lower arm is sticking out there.
It's not. It's her dick.
I mean...
I'm just gonna continue. Finally, the girl does manage to get the right balance of control to Peter's, and his fall is arrested. She then takes a little bit more time familiarizing herself with Spider-Man's powers, more and more convinced that Spidey was the guy she needed to get the job done. As a part of said fun, she atomizes a fucking chimney for no goddamn reason, though to be fair, I don't think she expected that either.
That's kind of fair.
It's not exactly an easy balance. Spidey is fighting her, and the girl can feel the edges blur of where he begins and she ends.
Well, yeah, Peter Parker is a very strong personality. I'm shocked that I would be shocked if this didn't happen.
And she's worried that if she stays connected too long, it might take, you know?
Ugh.
But it doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen without Spider-Man's aid tonight. She needs him.
You could have asked him. He might have said yes.
He would have said yes.
Oh, no, it's one of those plots.
And as evening falls, it falls on the rich and famous in Freedom Tower, the same as the rest of New York. They gather for a charity benefit put on by former South Vietnamese General Nguyen Nhop Khoi.
That is a ridiculous number of gargoyles.
It is?
And the construction of that building is also ridiculous.
It is. But, a South Vietnamese general.
Not everyone here are the ritziest of the ritzy, though. The Fantastic Four, sans Johnny, have arrived for the gathering, as the General bought many of Alicia Master's sculptures.
Huh.
Chatting with Reed and Sue, he introduces his nephew Tran and Tran's younger siblings, which is a bizarre way to refer to them. Here's my nephew, and here are my nephew's siblings.
Yeah.
And my other nephews and nieces?
Here are my nephews and my niece. This is Tran.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, ever the mom, Sue's heart just immediately fucking melts, and she kneels down to speak with the boys, with the kids. Unfortunately, they're only recent refugees, and they really don't have much in the way of English.
They recently escaped from Vietnam. That's
timely.
Weird, but...
not entirely timely.
It's not like... look,
timely.
Look, we have seen a lot of extreme cringe on this.
No, we're being reasonable. It's time to be reasonable in Asia today.
Look, I'm sorry, it's weird that they're being relatively reasonable. It feels weird. I don't know how to...
Asian portrayal is on the way up in this episode from where it started.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious.
Besides, with the late hour, it's time to send the boys off to bed. And so, the boys... I said the boys again! God! The kids off to bed, and soon they're on their way. The butlers lead the children off to their room, where they demand to see yet another still unseen sister. But the butlers aren't so friendly anymore, shoving the protesting child back and telling them to shut up.
Ooh.
Unaware that Spider-Man crouches in the shadows on the ceiling above the group.
Mm-hmm.
It's like negative effort to drop down on these guards and knock them out of the fight, so Spidey does just that, dodging a gunshot in the process. They have to get out of here quickly. He tells the children in Vietnamese to follow him.
Not a thing Spider-Man can normally do.
It's normal. It's totally normal. But the problem is that he doesn't lead them anywhere. His head flares with an alarming ringing, and then suddenly he's grabbed from behind by a pair of rubbery hands, quickly wrapping themselves around his chest to reel him in.
Important fact, the thoughts in his head mean that the person possessing him doesn't know what that meant.
Yep. Yeah, she's still figuring out Spidey's powers. I would love to know why Reed doesn't allow him some benefit of the doubt. They get on pretty well, but...
Yeah, they know him.
No, Spider-Man is a menace. Fuck that guy.
Well, we wouldn't be able to have a misunderstanding fight if we used any of those big old brains, would we, Reedy?
No.
It's only in the conversation that our mystery woman learns that perhaps the Daily Bugle is not the most reputable source of Spider-Man news. She's doing pretty well, though, considering she's marionetting around a man she's been dealing with for all of a day through a fight scene. Girl power, right? Mr. Fantastic still picks up on the fact that something's not right here, though, because for as good of a job as she's doing, puppeting Petey through a fight with superheroes even more advanced, even more experienced than him, he's still sloppy. Jerky.
Peter should have been able to actually kind of beat them.
Or at least do better than this. I guess he shouldn't have diverted that brain power to thinking, because he's just a fraction of a moment too slow to warn the Thing about a misstep. It's all the girl needs to throw Ben into Reed, hopelessly entangling the pair.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
The missing sibling, in Spider-Man's head, mind you, spots her uncle. But what should be of more concern is Susan Richards standing right beside him.
Oh.
She does hit him with the force field, but Spider-Man saved her son Franklin's life, and so whether consciously or unconsciously, she pulls her punch, and Spidey's able to slip free and knock Sue to the side with a decent swat. Enraging Reed Richards, who is not about to watch someone beat on his wife. I'm glad that off on the side, Tran and Coy are at least noting that this is a bad look for the Fantastic Hour. It's like fucking rank amateur hour.
Also, no one abuses Sue Storm. It's his job to neglect her.
Okay.
Neglect her. Not abuse, neglect.
Neglect
it's
is
different.
abuse.
I mean...
It's different. To him.
To him, yeah.
Finally, he gives Tran the permission he's been quietly asking for to bring the situation to a close. Peter screams as yet again his brain is seized by a foe, attempting to wrench it back from the woman already at the wheel. Finally, the strain is too much, and the girl has to abandon the battle with her twin. A dazed Spidey finally starts taking in his whereabouts, but Ben Grimm is already mid-punch, and it's lights out for baby boy.
Night.
Whammo!
Yeah, that man's gonna have some massive trauma.
Whammo seems appropriate, yeah. Things don't get less strange as far as Reed's concerned, though, because after attempting to kidnap his niece and nephews, General Coy doesn't want to call the cops on Spider-Man, and he just turns them over to them.
That's a choice.
They don't take him to the cops on their own, though, finally deciding they can trust their friend for like 5 minutes.
Well,
yeah.
Also, I don't think the cops are as big a fan of Fantastic Four as some people might think.
I think they're cool with, aren't they?
I don't know.
Pretty sure, yeah.
I don't know.
The Fantastic Four are like institutions of the city.
They are, but think about the paperwork. Think about the paperwork that having to deal with the Fantastic Four must mean for the cops.
They're glorified paper pushers in this universe. Don't kid me.
Yeah, but Reed Richards hates paperwork.
When Peter wakes up from his nap
His traumatic brain trauma that he definitely wakes up from. His concussion. He has a concussion.
He is beyond confused. He doesn't remember any of that shit, and definitely agrees that kidnapping is out of character for him.
Yeah.
That's pretty out of character for him.
I can't think of anyone I've kidnapped. Except for Gwen that one time she had the weed shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe he has done that sort of thing.
Well, Reed Richards has never met a mystery he didn't want demystified, so he promptly escorts Peter back to his lab to run some tests.
He's actually kind of boring like that, because mysteries are cool, and he needs to take all the fun out of them.
And he confirms that, for the last hour, the lights have been on, but no one's been home. He has no memory of the events.
Ugh.
Still, he's picking up on some brainwaves that seem familiar, and so he snakes his hand over to ring Professor X up on the phone.
He does tell Peter that... Peter thinks, was I dead? And he says, in a sense, you were. And Peter responds with, nice.
I mean, he's like a poor kid, so I think we can all relate to that.
What a fucking mood. Was I dead? Yep.
I think it's also time to address the fact that Johnny Storm has ADHD.
Yeah.
He can't go like 5 minutes when he doesn't have a task assigned. They're in the middle of a conversation. He's making fucking fours in the air.
Yeah.
Reed's hand is in front of him. He starts making puffs of flame around his fucking arm.
That's relatable. Again.
These are the most relatable people, what the hell?
When Charles picks up the phone, his students are hard at work in the danger room, so his attention is somewhat divided. But he confesses that Cerebro did pick up on some weird mutant activity earlier that evening, and he was considering investigating it. After the confirmation, Reed rigged up a mini Cerebro dealie, and the bunch tracked the energy signal to possibly the single most ridiculous-looking fucking church I have ever seen in my life.
I was about to say.
I mean, that's... designing churches in the form of a cross is actually a millennia-old thing.
God.
That has been a thing for over 1,000 years.
You know, just in case ye old skydivers need to find fucking Jesus.
No. It's because God's house has to be the shape of a cross. Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Hopefully the winds cooperate and they'll know right where to fucking find him. As soon as they get there, Peter has zero fucking chill. All fucks are lost, all cool is lost, all hope for this stained glass window is lost. As he immediately comes crashing through it and tackles a priest.
Great.
Peter, no.
The coin flip didn't work because it was the girl speaking with the priest, Sean, who immediately hijacks the Human Torch, pleading through his mouth as he battles for Spider-Man to just leave her to grieve because she hadn't meant to hurt him and now she's going to lose everything.
Well, you probably shouldn't have hijacked the worst Fantastic Four member's body.
I love Johnny. Be nice to Johnny.
But he is admittedly kind of terrible.
Yeah, a little. Susie then windshields Johnny, bubbling up both he and Pete to try to get all of this sorted out. Which Father Bowen would also be super happy for them to do because they are making this House of the Lord into a fucking battleground, and he's not loving it.
And it's not like the Vatican is going to pay for that window. That's coming out of the parishioners, damn it.
Oh, tithe, motherfuckers. You better tithe.
They tithe like the Dickens.
You better tithe, bitch. You want a hot body?
What, you think
You want a Bugatti?
You think Rome is going to pay for that? No, Rome ain't paying for shit here.
You better tithe, bitch.
God.
Xian then falls to her knees, weeping, and Reed decides it's time to for everybody to sit down and talk.
Also, lady, stop hijacking people and talk to them.
Well, now we're here. Father Bowen, once upon a time, served in Vietnam, where he met Xian Koiman. Xian grew up the daughter of a South Vietnamese army colonel, and so she saw plenty of horrors, even theorizing that maybe some of the chemical warfare might be some of the reason she's different.
Oh, fun. Wow,
It's a theory.
Dark.
It's her theory, mind you, but yeah.
That's dark.
In one of the many nightmares of the war, their village was being attacked by North Vietnamese forces, and Sean saw her brother Tran about to be killed, and for the first time, she thought she brought her mutant ability to bear, using it to stop the soldier in place. Somehow Tran followed this out to understanding that he could do the same, and did so, forcing the soldier to commit Minecraft.
Oh.
Sean's dad never much liked Uncle Nguyen much. Something she felt in return. Maybe a bit guiltily, but still. One day she saw Tran demonstrating his powers to his uncle's great intrigue. Is it any great surprise then that when the Americans and their close allies were getting out of the country that only Nguyen and Tran escaped?
Yeah.
From there, it was a long, bitter struggle to escape the country, one that required Shan to use her powers on many occasions to keep her family together as they fled, finding space on one of the many boats fleeing the country. Unfortunately, they didn't find freedom. Their boat was intercepted by Thai pirates, a grim fate for all aboard.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I know where that goes.
The men killed, the women, you know.
Yeah.
And by the day's close, only Sean was left to care for her little brother and sister. From there, they somehow find their way to America and reunited with Uncle Nwang.
This is dark.
This is dark.
But that was surprisingly serious and sensitive, considering... Remember when there were South Korean trolls?
God, no, those were North Korean trolls.
I'm sorry, I forgot which Korea they were under. Look, the point is... Look, we went from... That was, what, a decade ago?
Roundabout.
Yeah, ish.
But that's the progression of sensitivity we've gone from.
We're doing a little better here this time.
Yeah.
Well, I think that could also partially just be the writers.
The writers have improved their...
This writer has improved.
True, but this writer is helping... please tell me this writer isn't hard-carrying the Southeast Asian sensitivity. Please tell me that.
It wasn't long, though, before General Koi was pressuring Sean to use her powers to make money, much like Tran. But this outraged her, and so she took the children and left, heading to the church, as she'd heard from the Navy about a relief group that the father ran for boat people. With the father's help, Sean was getting her life back on track. She had shelter and a job, the kids were about to start school, and then one night she returned to find her new home ransacked and her siblings Leong and Na gone, with the warning that General Koi had taken them, and if she wanted to see them again, Sean would have to come work for him, before midnight. And that's when she thought of all those Daily Bugle covers talking about what a menace Spider-Man was.
Damn it, Jameson.
She's gonna use a criminal to fight a criminal.
He's not a criminal.
Come midnight, at a darkened Brooklyn pier, General Koi's car has pulled up, and he guides the children towards another small boat, there to carry the children off while they can be monitored to see that they develop abilities like their older siblings. If not, he'll find something else to use them for.
Chai is having the time of her fucking life.
Yeah, the cat is just...
She's loving it. After hearing her story, Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four would not let such an injustice stand.
You could have just asked.
Right. See, when I told you that if they just asked, if she asked.
Yeah, they would have... Look, Spider-Man would have been down for this.
Without batting a fucking eye.
Heartbeat. In no time at all, the goon squad is down, and it's just Tran and the General left standing.
I mean, Peter probably could have done this on his own, but... Peter and the Fantastic Four.
Well, they also have a mind control guy, so I don't know about that.
Yeah.
At his uncle's prodding, Tran strikes, hitting his sister hard with a mental blast and taking her out of the fight. He then first seizes Ben's mind, and then the entirety of the Fantastic Four, ready to make this hurt for Spider-Man.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Yeah, that is a problem.
If not for his interference, none of this was going to happen. He was just trying to go to work, Tran. He wanted a bagel and a coffee, maybe to beat on some criminal dressed like a koala. Is that so fucking much to ask? Apparently so. Couple of things on this page. They are all speaking in Tran's voice, but Spidey wasn't speaking in Xian's voice. Because if he was, surely the situation would have been more obvious than they were treating it. It's like, wow, Peter sure sounds a lot like a fucking Vietnamese woman.
Yeah.
Strange.
Odd.
Whatever. And Peter's like, I don't stand a chance, but bro, you nearly kicked all their asses being puppeted around by Xian. You're underestimating yourself.
Let's be real, he doesn't know how to control these people.
I think that's in character, though. He would underestimate himself.
That is true.
He does underestimate himself.
I love this panel where he just kind of ping-pongs between them, bouncing off of one to hit another. It's really nice.
Oh, yeah, so what else is new? I'll try positive thinking. What have I got?
What have I got that Fantastic Four hasn't?
Money. They have money. You don't.
Speed and reaction time is Peter's answer.
They have money?
Alright, but it's what do I have that they don't?
Right.
Lack of money.
Crippling debt.
Yes, crippling forever debt. Generational debt.
He's kicking absolute ass. But with everyone busy, though, Uncle Coy just remembered he left the oven on, so he's gonna have to go fix that, and Trun's like, whatever. He's just having himself a fun time, and he's ready to wrangle himself a better allowance. Spidey doesn't get how Tran could go along with all of that. Those are his little brother and sister. And the young man counters, as Torch sets the boat ablaze, that he wasn't actually going to let it go that far. He would have taken over Coy's criminal organization, and his siblings wouldn't have been in any danger. He's all heart, that Tran Clement.
So he's just planning on becoming like a criminal mastermind, and he's going to take over for his...
Right, he's going to take over. That's his plan.
I mean, hey, that's a decent plan.
It's a plan.
Back up on the docks, as Spidey fights, Sean starts to come to, pleading for Tran to stop, but he doesn't. And the fire aboard causes some munitions stored on the boat to explode.
Why are there munitions on this boat?
I guess the general wasn't going to waste a trip.
Oh, God.
Don't worry, the kids are safe. Sue has them in a bubble.
Oh, great.
Peter is not enjoying himself very much anymore.
What?
Every time he thinks he has them beat, another of the Fantastic Four is ready to take another go at him. And even as he picks himself up off the dock after the explosion, the Thing is clambering back atop the pier, ready to go again.
Ugh. I mean, that's par for the course with this guy, but...
Shan has finally had enough. She will not stand for more, and she strikes out. Not at Ben, but at her brother, attacking him ferociously. He pleads for her to stop, but she does not, until Tran eventually vanishes into thin air.
What?
Yeah.
He got Jedi'd?
Apparently she just absorbed him into herself to be the yang to her yang, or what the fuck ever.
What?
See, I told you we were mostly good. We do have some cringe.
Yeah. I
was noticing the yin-yangs on their outfits, and I didn't choose to comment on it.
But it is cringe.
It is.
And with that, the siblings are reunited.
Inside of...
Well, that, I meant young
the little ones.
But yeah, I guess the gang's all here.
Yeah.
And, she names herself Karma as she walks back off into the night with them.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that was...
You've never heard of Karma, have you?
No.
I have.
I have no idea who this is.
Yeah, we did cover this for a reason, I promise.
I was
how'd
wondering.
you like that?
4. It was pretty good.
It was... Yeah, sure, 4. That was something.
I'm down with that, 4.
What did
Merle thought? 3.67. They weren't too far below us.
Okay.
On to the B story, written by Chris Claremont.
Oh boy.
Penciled by John Byrne. Inked by Bob Wysek. Colored by Carl Gafford. And lettered by Annette Kowecki. Storm is just innocently walking down some street when some past enemy shoots her in the head.
Great.
Wonderful. That's fun. That's fun.
There's nothing to be gained by sticking around on that roof, so with the shot fired, the assassin turns to flee all the way back to South Africa.
You know, you really do need to make sure you've actually killed her.
Double tap.
When suddenly the skies begin to darken, and the winds raise to a howl, lightning bolts crashing down upon the apartment roof around the would-be killer.
He did fail.
He did fail.
And it's not like she's got like a bulletproof head or anything. He just missed.
I don't think he missed, I think he grazed her.
That's not a proper headshot then.
And then comes Storm. She doesn't recognize her would-be murderer, though she can place his accent. He's unwilling to cooperate at all until she brings the might of the storm down right on top of his head. When it finally stops, the assassin gives up the name of his employer, a man named Andreas de Ruyter. The name sparks recognition for Storm, and she thinks back across the years to her girlhood. A tween of only 12, Aurora Monroe had begun a journey south across Africa, having journeyed as far as Kenya, and where she stumbled upon a white gang attacking a black teenager. And though she'd never actually used her fledgling powers to fly before, she stomps pretty hard, at the very least knocking the whole gang off their feet. The young warrior still stands, though, and after an inquiry as to if he speaks English, Aurora finally sits down beside him, just as one last member of the gang steps out of the truck they'd all come in.
Ew.
Finally, things are clarified, and we find out what's going on here. The young warrior is Prince T'Challa, and this is a political attack.
Oh.
The South African government would very much like to kidnap T'Challa and use him as a puppet ruler.
Oh, God, this is early South Africa days. Oh, no. Oh, no.
The young prince knocks De Ruyter the bull on his ass, but De Ruyter pulls a dart gun, more than happy to bring him back unconscious. However, Aurora still isn't powerless, and she strikes out with a jolt of lightning, striking the dart gun before swooping off with De Ruyter's would-be prize.
The genius had a metal gun. And
Well, I mean, he didn't... What other kind would you usually... He wasn't counting on a weather
for a 12-year-old who could shoot lightning.
that's only fair now.
The pair then continued on Aurora's journey for a while. A joyful time for both. Unlike now, when Aurora comes to the Wakandan embassy in New York, asking to meet with T'Challa. I guess it's convenient he was in New York instead of Wakanda.
It is very convenient.
The butler doesn't need to fetch His Highness, though, because he's already there, having recognized what he could have sworn was Aurora's voice. For a moment they both soften, glad to see the other looking so well. Before Aurora has to pop that bubble of happiness and inform T'Challa about De Ruyter's attack on her. And so the pair return to the computer room to see what they can find out about De Ruyter's recent activities.
Look at that big old 80s computer. Looks designed to run an atomic energy plant.
It probably is. It seems that failing to accomplish his mission and getting his ass kicked by two teenagers wasn't exactly the highlight of his career.
Oh, shit.
And it slowly but surely fell apart after that. Though frankly, by this fucking Long Island mansion they track him to, I think poor Rudy's doing alright.
Well, let's be real. He probably has generational wealth.
Probably.
The producer sneezed.
Oh, Kitty. Generational wealth that was extracted from
South Africa.
I hope his child didn't go on to form to buy a social media platform.
Oh my god.
The pair break into the house, and T'Challa quietly dispatches the guards as they scour it, searching it for anything useful, but they don't find anything of interest apart from this one locked door. The Black Panther wants to kick it down, but instead Aurora kneels in front of it, fishing out her lockpicks from her headdress and getting to work. Noting that someone actually wired the door with explosives, so like good he didn't kick that.
Yeah.
But after a short time, the lock clicks open, revealing a darkened room with a big fucking robot inside.
Awesome.
What the fuck?
Fucking dope.
It's a big fucking robot.
Hell yeah.
For you see, shockingly, this was a trap meant to lure the plan to this house. And it worked.
Wow.
The robot is built to handle anything the heroes have to throw, but the floor is not.
This man spent so much money on a trap.
And he didn't reinforce the floor. And then the house is oddly silent, with no further response from the robot. The pair seek to use the brief hiatus to their advantage, searching out the only other exit to the room. This time, Aurora does let T'Challa just kick it down, revealing an aged De Ruyter sitting slumped in the captain's chair of his computer room. He's dead. Through backlash with his psychic link to the robot and a body riddled with sickness, De Ruyter passed from the strain of the fight. For a long moment, the pair linger on what could have been, before once more going their separate ways. How'd you like that?
4. That was fun. And also, interesting beginning to the whole bullshit with T'Challa and Aurora.
It's kind of sweet, isn't it?
And,
It is.
you know, it's balancing a knife's edge of real, actual politics and...
Marvel horseshit.
And Marvel bullshit that has been built up over the years. So, they did... Now,
Admirable.
Yes! It's an admirable job for what they had to work with. So yeah, 4.
I'm down. 4. What do you think CMRO thought?
4.
Less.
Correct on less. 3.34.
Wow.
That's gonna be it for us tonight.
Oh boy.
I'm very sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be back with you in a couple of weeks, and we look forward to talking to you then. Bye.
Bye.